Greetings, my fellow humans and non-humans. It's me again, Basement Dweller. And we got a fun video because Art the Clown is in DBD! Give Art a big round of applause. I'm proud of him. You should be proud. Well, actually, they're not in DBD yet, and there's also that lawsuit that's going on, and I really hope that doesn't affect our chances because I've waited so long for this day, and I don't want it to be taken away from me from stuff out of legal control, and oh man, but that is another worry for another day, I hope. So yeah, now that we got both Art the Clown and Jason Voorhees in DBD, I want to redo my list of my top 10 most wanted licensed chapters slash killers and whatnot. So like I decided to keep a few things exclusive to the previous video. So if you're curious to my stance on a Resident Evil Chapter 3 or FNAF Chapter 2, well, you have to go see that. And as well as that, a few other things like, how would Sadakaya work for DBD, like those stuff, you have to rewatch that old video. So yeah, on to the list. And on the same spot as number 10 is Big Daddy. Well, a Big Daddy from the BioShock franchise. I just feel like it just works, we have just like a big, suited individual with a power drill, and like his powers could be like he does like he's like real slow, right? But then when he finds a survivor, you could choose a charge button, and then he starts sprinting temporarily for a brief period, and then you could smack survivors off a drill and down them. Maybe like an Oni kind of, but like much slower throughout the match. But you have like a little charge boost, or I don't know. Like the thing is, like the Mori could be pretty obvious, like he just puts a drill into your chest while you're on the floor, and it starts spinning it, and the survivor starts spinning and meat chunks start flying around, and that'd be so cool. As well as that, getting an underwater city map, and then like blighted Big Daddies, it would be super cool to see. And yeah, I feel like we don't have many oceanic horror in DBD, and this would be a good step of the way in that direction. Next up is, you give a sad plea for Candyman and DBD. This is a big shame because I really love Candyman. And at first when I did the list, I was like, well, if Art the Clown's out, I guess the next entry would be number 10. And then I thought about it, and I kind of prefer, if I would rather have Candyman over a BioShock chapter, just because Candyman's a horror icon in my eyes. It just, unfortunately, I feel like we may have, unfortunately, missed our chance at this. So, for those unaware, we had a Candyman requel, which was really good. I liked it. I'm not sure how well it did financially, or how popular it was, because whenever I talk to people in the horror sphere, I rarely hear people bring up the Candyman requel film, because, I don't know, like, it was really good. And we have a lot of Candyman legendaries with that. Granted, we could always have it with the original films before. Whoa, there's an ant on my desk. But yeah, I feel like we may have missed our sail right there, our boat. The ship has sailed. There we go. That's the proper term. And it doesn't help that Tony Todd, also died. So like, if we were to get Candyman DBD, would have to get a voice impersonator and whatnot, which, I mean, that's fine, right? But I just feel like having the original actors, behind, the character just makes them more authentic, more happy, I like that. And power-wise, we can have like a bunch of mirrors spawn on the map, right? And Candyman can like manifest through those mirrors and teleport through them. But like maybe when he teleports through, it's like he goes like real fast, through them. So like it'd be super cool to have that. And then he could like shoot bees out of his mouth towards survivors, and when they hit the survivors, they start swarming around them. You have to swat them away, and then you could shoot like a second set of bees, and those times they sting you or something like that. Or that sounds like Artist plus Sadako combined. I just realized that. But there's a lot of potential. Then we have like his hook hand as his default weapon. And then, like I said, there's legendary skin potential with him. Don't want to spoil that, but there's potentials we could have with different voice lines as well. And then the Mori would be super brutal. I think like you know, like he picks up a survivor with his hooked hand or something, and he opens his mouth and a bunch of bees start swarming out of him, and they go into the survivor, and then they start popping out of the survivor's eye sockets and whatnot. You know, I feel like insect horror isn't tapped on as much in DBD, which is a big of shame. I know I always wanted to do a top 10 DBD original killers idea, and one of them was like a high contender was like a spider themed killer. But having bees would also be the next step, and bees are sometimes scary when they sneak up on your clothes or something like that. And having a bunch of bees around you, that's scary. So yeah, that's my number 9 pick. Number 8 is the T1000, but realistically they would do the T800 with a T1000 legendary. I thought more about how to do the T800. I think I would have them with like a wrist blade, right, modified so like that way the animations could correlate with the T1000's sword hand, whatnot. And then power-wise, I don't know, maybe they have like aura, they could see through walls and see, or that's not really a power of a huh. Well, I'm sure they'll figure it out. I'm sure they would. Next up on the list is Dead Space, but mostly because I want Isaac in DBD. He's a horror icon who has crossovered in a lot of places, you know, and so I feel like it's right for him to be in the ultimate, you know, horror crossover game. And then I guess we could also have a necromorph. I guess the thing is there's not like one definitive necromorph look or power you could do. Honestly, I feel like the sky's the limit right there. What to do? Another character with a sky's limit power is Kayako, because I feel like there's a lot of potential you got there. She could make clones. She could manifest, demanifest. Her son could be a part of the power too. Maybe like if he finds you, like you're double exposed or something like that. I don't know. I just feel like if we get Kayako and DBD, we could up the horror elements in the game, which the game really needs that. I mean, every time we get horror in DBD, I get super excited. And Kayako would be a very great addition. Honestly, I think she has a higher chance than Candyman. I just feel like we just need a huge community outcry. And yeah. Next up is the Ink Demon from the Bending the Ink Machine franchise. It would be super cool having another demon in DBD, because I think the only demon we have is Freddy Krueger, the Dream Demon, which is kind of odd that we don't have other demons. I mean, I guess we're gonna get Lilith from Diablo 4, well, the Diablo series, but having an Ink Demon would be super cool. You could shapeshift a bit, you know, more for his animations and whatnot. Maybe because like there could be like a bunch of puddles of ink, right? And he could like teleport to them through those puddles. And then like maybe like he could have like an ink axe, right? And he throws at the survivors, and then he grabs them and does a jump scare. Well, we'll have something for Bendy, you know. I'm not Bendy. Sorry, the Ink Demon. Sorry, my bad. I guess maybe have a lobby animation of him shapeshifting to Bendy. That would be pretty funny. Also, yeah, that'd be cool. And he have cool voice line potential as well. Next up is the Grabber from the Black Phones franchise. I feel like it's pretty easy to like translate this guy to DBD. You know, like we could just have him like manifest and demanifest, similar to like Sadako and Freddy 1.0 kind of, or like some people could see him but not all people. And then like maybe he could use like his belt to trip people up and whatnot. I mean, there's a lot of there's some room for creativity here. And then we can have like his Black Phone 1 appearance, Black Phone 2 appearance, and then those have like customization with like their weapons, their outfit, and their masks, right? And the masks, oof, like, so we have like 8 variations for the first movie and 8 variations for the second movie. So we have like the top half if you want that on or off, bottom half if you want to have like the smiley mask, the frowny mask, or the no mouth mask, and then someone's having just no slot, just only the top part of the mask only. So like, we have a lot of combinations we could do. Actually realizing I'm not sure how DB would do it, but I'm pretty sure they'll figure it out. Either that or just have like 4 different masks, you know, where it's like smile, frowny, no, and then the And I guess keep the no mouth options. I feel like the no head option, I'm not sure people would really run that often. Maybe. And then we could have like his end game Black Phone 2 appearance where he removes the mask with frost bite damage. You know, it looks pretty gnarly, pretty cool. And then as well as that, his pre-grabber mask grabber, you know, so basically before he's a mask, he'd use makeup and stuff. And yeah, that'd be super cool. Next up is a Yautja killer from the Predator franchise. Probably they'll do the Jungle Hunter from the first movie. And we have different Predators, legendary skins. We have the lore of them, like the instant kidnapping Yautjas, you know, and removing their cool gear, so they have to like hunt with like basic gear. And maybe they're like doing it because if they hunt enough survivors, maybe they'll get to hunt down a better worthy prey, you know. And that would be super cool. Power-wise, they could turn invisible, use the plasma caster, bolts, or whatever, using the cool traps, throwing shurikens or nets and stuff. Like, I feel like you could do a lot with the Predator's arsenal kit while making it DBD friendly. And yeah, but the main reason why I want that is, just like in the last video, Predalien. Because what if we get the Xenomorph? And what if it comes out of a Yautja and we combine them both? And it works. It looks so cool. I love the Predalien. Please give it to me, DBD. I feel like we're not getting it just because we won't have the Predator in DBD. And also make it a visceral rarity where, like, the survivor's on the floor, right? And then it crawls up to them and then starts injecting, with its inner mouth, a bunch of, like, you know, chest bursters, right? And they come out of your chest. Because people complain that we didn't have chest bursters in the Xenomorph, Power or Mori. So this would be a good way to have it, you know? Because, like, the Predalien is like somehow could produce chest bursters. I'm not sure how, but just does, impregnates people. That's scary, you know. Then the three of them burst out of your chest, you know, and then that's the Mori. That's awesome. That's cool. Yeah, Predalien. Next up is the Slender Man. So I really want Slender Man in DBD, mostly just for we could have this huge internet icon in this Hall of Horror, you know, and we have a lot of potential right here. So like, I want Slenderman over the Operator. I explained differences and whatnot in my previous video if you're curious. So we can have like Slenderman spawn in. There's 8 pages. He does interact with them, but survivors can't. So basically, like, maybe he's like overpowered, and if you grab all 8 pages, you know, you depower him. So that's like a second objective for the survivors. Maybe not all 8 pages spawn at once, maybe like 2 or 3 at a time spawns, and every time you collect one and everyone spawns on a different location. So that's pretty cool. And then if the Slenderman finds them, maybe you could hide them in a different location or something like that. And then maybe I want it to be like the reverse unknown, where you're not supposed to look at him when he chases you. You can look at him when he's not chasing you, but when he's chasing you, you're supposed to look away, you know, otherwise the screen goes static, you know, and you could do like a lethal attack with his tentacles or something like that. And then as well as that, you have cool animations of him picking up survivors with his tentacles, breaking generators and pallets and walls with his tentacles, and yeah. And then I thought like his walking cycle could be not him walking, but him like phasing in and out of reality, but like he's moving forward, kind of like he's like, I guess like without the animations, it look like he would basically be sliding around the floor and whatnot. But like we'll have like intervals of him phasing in and out of reality, you know, kind of like Sadako when she's demanifested. So it'll be super cool. Also, I guess it'll be similar to the Hanged Man from Spooky's Jump Scare Mansion. Not sure if anyone knows that reference right there, but if you do, that would be super cool to call back, you know, reference I'm making right there. And then next up, I would like, as my most wanted license, Pennywise, the Dancing Clown. Yeah, this is like my 4th or 5th time recording this, so that's why I can't have much enthusiasm. But I would really like to have Pennywise in DBD. I feel like something to add to the discussion that most people haven't talked about is like, I think we almost had Pennywise in multiverses, because like I feel like the devs were like leading on clues for that, and that would have been a big deal having Pennywise in a game. And as well as that, I'm pretty sure they would have had like original cosmetics, because in multiverses Jason had original cosmetics. And then another thing to think about is that we were probably gonna get Freddy Krueger as well, because like we had Freddy versus Jason in the files, but he never came out. And I think there was like voice line teasing hints of Freddy Krueger's existence. which I think is gonna be kind of funny because they're gonna give because like the thing is they're only allowed to use remake Freddy, you know, New Line Cinema, this weird ruling and whatnot. But then that makes me wonder if we have Freddy versus Jason, would we gotten like OG Freddy? So I feel like people don't talk about multiverses when it comes to DBD because like there's like some big implications right there. And now that Paramount bought Warner Brothers, who owns New Line Cinema, I'm curious of like how this affects DBD in any way, shape, or form. Yeah, but that's a whole different topic, a whole different can of worms right there for another day. Pennywise though, power, I think it'll be super cool if we spawn in as a killer for original DBD killer, right? That doesn't spawn with props, so no Trapper, no Dredge, no Plague, you know, because those have fountains, you know, bear traps and locked lockers, so stuff like that. And then when you spawn as them, so let's say like you spawn in, you know, then it's a random killer. Let's say I'm the Unknown or I'm the Legion. You run up to a survivor. They actually think it's that killer, right? But then when you like do an M1 hit, or you could use your power, right, to break out of the animation. He's like, oh, it's Pennywise, guys. And then like maybe he could turn to like his flying demon baby form, you know, and you could like fly around and like, I just realized that sounds similar to Dracula. I mean, should we power creep Dracula? Yeah, let's do that. Put Dracula power creeped a lot of killers, so then we can make him power creep Dracula, you know? Shape-shifting killer, have different abilities. Maybe he has like a long arms, you know, stretch, or uses mantis claws, and we have a lot of potential. And then as well as that, we have like his Welcome to Derry look, and I'm not sure if you could get original cosmetics. Unfortunately, I feel like he probably can't. But that's fine, just because I love Pennywise that much. I wouldn't even mind if it's just only like 2 or 3 looks. I think a big one I would like to see his design when he takes battle damage in the first It movie. You know, like he has like a ripped sharp teeth mouth. That'd be super cool to have. But yeah, that's all my wants for DBD, and I really hope we get one of these 10 guys soon. I mean, I say soon, but we won't see them until after this year's over, DBD. So until next year, we'll find out, you know, who's the next licensed killer. I'm excited for the future DBD. We're getting Art the Clown, Frank Stone, the Grimoire Traptor, and a DBD 2.0, all that stuff. I'm excited for the future DBD. But yeah, I've been the Basement Dweller. Next video should hopefully not be a top 10 list. Anyways, take care. Also forgot to mention for the grabber, hold up real quickly, it would be super cool, like, in the DBD movie, they have all original characters, but at the end credits, right, the survivors, you know, like, one survivor's, like, walking around, and he hears, like, a phone ringing, and turns around, and it's the black phone, and it cuts right there, because it would be so cool if you watch the movie, and it's actually a teaser for the next chapter for Dead by Daylight. So cool. If you wanted me to do a video about how I would do the DBD movie, I don't know, leave a comment about that, that'd be cool. Anyways, I've been the Basement Dweller. Take care, and bye-bye.